Hi everyone, this is Henry Davis, and for today's tutorial I'm going to go through how to work with layers in Photoshop. So we learned this week about layers, and I'm going to take you through a few techniques that I learned. So to begin, all the presets are default for my Photoshop documents. I'll name it album cover. And it's just going to be the defaults that Photoshop throws you at the beginning: 2000 width, 3000 height in pixels, and 300 pixels per inch. So we're going to go straight into that. And say after I go into that, I don't like the size of my background layer. So I can either use the crop tool here, which I'm going to do for my first step. I'm going to reduce it to 7 inches and just crop it like that, because we're doing it for an album cover, so something more square would make sense. However, after that, I'm going to use the first technique that I learned this week, and add a little bit on the outside for the canvas size. And I am going to add a new color because I want it to look more like a frame than anything else. I'm going to add, we'll say, actually, Control-Z that out. We're going to go with 7 inches and 8 inches respectively. So we'll see how that turns out. And I want to pick it dead center. I don't want it to add it anywhere else. It'll just be on the outside. So it adds an inch on each side. It looks really nice. So, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go and select my picture that I'm going to be using off of my desktop, and I'm going to take it in here, and to make sure I preserve the aspect ratio, I'm just going to leave it as is, and I'm going to center it right in the middle and just hit enter to begin with. I'm going to be changing this a little bit later. So now I'm going to add a new layer, and I'm going to add a different picture on top of that in this new layer. So, oh, that's not the one I want. In here. Just going to throw that in there. And it's going to auto-name it to the name of the image. And I'm going to make this significantly smaller. And I'm just going to cover it up down here under that parental advisory thing. Hit enter, and I'm just going to zoom in down here, because this is what I'm going to be focusing on for right now. And let's get rid of this. So let's say I want to rid myself of the white edges of this and just have the figure of Frank Ocean in the photo. So I'm going to use the Magic Wand tool to open up this part of the picture, and I'm going to hit delete. It's a smart object, I forgot, so I'm going to have to rasterize it, and then I will use it to delete that layer. So there is Frank Ocean without his background, and I'm just going to move that a little bit over to there. So that's all I want for that layer. I'm going to have Frank at the bottom of his Channel Orange album cover. So I'm going to zoom back out. And let's say I want multiple Franks. So I'm going to put one over the other just for a different effect with this one. So we're going to just say 2 here. So that's my second layer, and I'm going to move this one right up top here just for some dramatic effects, some additional pizzazz to your image. And then let's say if you want to take a screenshot of another image, and well, actually first I should say let's merge these two together. So whenever we move one, we also move the other, so I'll highlight both. and we're going to merge these. So that duplication now is erased, and we're just merging these two together. And now see, whenever I move this layer anywhere, the second layer moves along with it. So this duplicate face of Frank Ocean is just forever ingrained with itself. So let's say I wanted to add a different piece to this from where I want to edit the original image in another window. So we're going to put this in. I'm going to actually make it a little bit smaller this time around because it's going to be going into another image. Actually, let's only make the height 1500. So now I'm going to go grab my other album cover that I'm putting in, his most recent album, and I'll put that in there. And I'm just going to edit this one in this window. So that's all I really wanted to do here, was just pull it aside, make sure I have them all separated so I don't have too many things going on in one window. So this looks about right to me. That looks about the size I want it to be. So I'm going to use the magic wand again to crop. No, I don't quite want that. That's about what I want. So I'm going to crop that. Oh, I have to rasterize this again first. I forgot, because smart images do not like it. And then I'm going to delete all of the outer walls of this out. And then that is all I'm going to want to do. And so, and then let's say I want to pull this layer out and put it into my other layer. So I can just literally drag this up onto here and put it in. And see, now it's exactly how I want it to be. It's just the cropped, magic wanded, per se, image. And I can just throw this over top. And this is just a little, I guess we're making an ode to Frank Ocean here. This is his 2 projects. As stated in the weekly theme, it had to be about an album cover. What's this doing down here? Okay. Well, either way. So finally, let's say you wanted to write a little message on here. So we're going to select the text tool. We're going to say Frank Ocean discography. Okay, and that's all I want for that. And we're going to move this around here. And I have to mention that you can't get out of the text tool or move it around or anything. It'll just highlight unless you select off of it and or move to another layer. So, so this is all I really want for this. Now, let's say we don't want anyone to be able to edit how this is laid out. So instead of merging all of these, I could, if I wanted to, highlight all these layers and just link them together. So whenever anything happens to any one of these layers, they're still individual. You can still have your regular layers, but they all move as one now. It is one linked layer instead of just merging them all together like we did in the first part of the video and throwing them in there and having all of the work in between disappear. If you want to keep them separated and organized like a certain way, then this would be the way to do it. So I think that covers just about all of the 8, or just about all of the 8 that stood out to me for this week's tutorial. Let me know if you all have any questions, and thank you.